So this one video is going to be another one where we no, they're in front of me. I know this is getting annoying. Where basically what we're going to be doing is discussing some weather bridges, specifically what we're going to be doing is looking at the summer of 2021, looking at important milestones, times between the first and last time we hit it, and then the next time that we hit that milestone. And I'm going to be a little bit finicky for a reason. It's not going to necessarily be standard because I'm basing it partly off of the weather data that we encountered last year. So expect me to put a few weird temperatures in there, and you'll just have to get used to that. Also forgot to put on sunscreen, and now I think I'm going to get sunburns, and probably wearing sweatpants on this day was not the smartest idea. But hey, it's practice for Phoenix in August. Anyway, so for example, 85 degrees. We hit that on May 19th, 2021, and then from there, the last time that we would hit that temperature was September 18th, 2021. However, keep in mind, September 18th was more humid than May 19th, because when it gets warm in the spring, you typically see lower humidity than when it gets warm in the fall, because the summer humidity is typically still lingering. From that point, though, we will not hit 85 degrees again until May 20th, 2022, or May 21st, 2022. Whoa, May 20th and May 21st had totally different weather. But the thing is that on May 20th, it would wind up getting all the way up to 90. May 21st, it would wind up getting all the way up to 90. The first time I hit the 90s of the last summer was May 22nd, where it got to 91. And the last time that happened last summer was August 27th, when it got to 93. That 93 only happened once of all of last summer, but it already happened this year on May 31st, nonetheless. Which is pretty crazy if you think about it. May 31st until the very last hours of the day could have very easily have been the first day of the year with the lows in the sultry 70s, as the morning low temperature was 70 degrees. However, a backdoor cold front pushed through very strongly and actually brought the temperature down to 61 degrees by midnight, with it falling under 70 by about 10 o'clock at night. Dark Sky only says it got down to 64 by midnight, though. And the next day was completely different, with a low of 58 and a high of 66, thus marking the last day of the year where the high would be stuck in the teens if you use Celsius, as in failing to get above 20 degrees Celsius, as in 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, keep in mind, this is from my location and not necessarily for New York City or anywhere else, really, even. Now, as far as the spree last year, the high was 17 degrees Celsius, 63 degrees Fahrenheit on July 3rd, which is insanely abnormal, the high temperature being below the average low for the state. It was a really dark and just miserable day. But the good news is that it wouldn't get this cold again until October 18th, and as a matter of fact, the next time that the high would even be below 20 degrees Celsius or in the teens Celsius was on September 30th, when the high was 19 degrees Celsius or 66 degrees Fahrenheit. to kind of close out September. If you're talking about the 70s in Fahrenheit, then this happened the day before on September 29th when the high was 69 degrees. But there was also a day with a 68 degree high in June later on, specifically June 22nd. Another dreary, damp, dark day that nobody was happy with because nobody likes these kinds of weather days. Now the thing is that having it go from one thing I want to talk about with this is that I'm starting to say words. Basically, is that in the summer of 2021, there was a lot more temperature swings and a lot more more atmospheric events. Whereas this year, the summer so far has been relatively bland. All of our highs so far have been sandwiched in the 80s. This July, save for one day in the 90s, so that's about to change. And all of our lows so far have been stuck in the 60s, except for a few days with the lows in the 70s. Speaking of that, lows in the 70s. So in 2021, this happened as early as July 6th with a low of 71 degrees. Then this last happened on September 22nd when the low was 72 degrees, the same as the average high for the state. And it was the fall equinox, which makes it even weirder. Now, in case you're wondering how this managed to happen, basically, this was before a very strong cold front was about to come through. And also because December was kind of above average to begin with. Actually, it was pretty well above average. So that's kind of how that managed to happen. But then this wouldn't happen again until July 2nd, when the low was a sultry 73 degrees. This did not happen at all in June, and one of the annoying things I want to talk about is how many lows occurred at midnight, erasing relatively warm morning lows. Like, the reason why, after excluding January 1st, it's low 49, the first time the low got to 49 was April 8th, and how the first low in the 50s was on April 12th is a little bit ridiculous if you think about it, but it was because of all these events happening. It's the same reason why the low was never in the 50s in November, but rather stuck in the 40s, 30s, or even 20s. It's because of these sultry morning lows getting erased. This is why our first low in the 70s was delayed by quite a bit. Because what happened was that on May 31st, that backdoor cold front came through. I can't, off the top of my head, think another day where this would have mattered. I can only really think of just that one. For this one, at least. Also, we talked about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 29 degrees Celsius. But let's talk about when it hit the 30s in Celsius, which is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. I know this sounds weird. This happened first on last year on May 22nd, where we talked about the temperature. But the last time it happened in the entire summer was August 27th. It now hit 85 degrees multiple times since then. It hit that on August 31st, September 13th, September 18th, and it also hit 84 on Labor Day. But the fact remains is that it still failed to get into the it still failed to, get into the 30s since then in Celsius. It still failed to get above 85 degrees. The first time it happened this year was obviously May 21st. As a matter of fact, May 21st will be the first day of the year where the high hit 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, and 90 in Fahrenheit. That's right, if we look at 79 degrees, the first time this happened in 2021 was obviously that crazy March 26th day where the high got to 82. Which, by the way, we could go through pretty much, I'm not saying a bunch of numbers again, pretty much every single number between 69 and 82 was the first time this happened for March 26th. It last happened on, actually that was when it hit 80 degrees on September 23rd. And then it wouldn't happen again until May 21st. Because, while I would normally say 78, because the first time it hit 78 was obviously March 26th, and then the last time was on May, oh no, it was on October 20th when it hit 78. It wouldn't hit 78 again until May 17th, but at that point it sounds a bit less impressive. Oh, and in case you're wondering, we are in a mild drought right now. Which is crazy considering how we were just a couple months ago. We were battering too much precipitation, now we have too little. Anyway, as far as that goes, that's just, kind of the weird comparisons of our summer and how it manages to work. What I will say, though, is that March 26th certainly skewed all the data. So let's look at 83 degrees now, because that's the first temperature that March 26th failed to hit. That would be May 19th. And it would last be hit on September 18th. Although, believe me, some days tried hard to get to that point. And then obviously May 20th. So, that's what I will say in regards to that. So, yeah, that's about it.